Another 45 miles to go. Another 45 miles before I'm home. That Golden Earring song was in my head permanently, prior and during my final stage of the Rand van het Land project. Another 45 miles, 72 kilometers, running on the beach from Bergen aan Zee to Scheveningen. Another 45 miles before I'm home. Home, meaning back at my family who are waiting for me at the finish line. And home because it's done. For a year, I ran almost 3,000 kilometers on our boundaries. The border with Germany, the border with Belgium, and all our waterfront borders. I went looking and found historical stories about the border. But you won't hear those stories here today. I challenge you all to go out there and look for those stories yourself. You have to know your past to be able to build a future. And if you come closer to your boundaries, you might experience that much more will happen. That's what happened to me. I went looking for stories and found way more. Friendship, gratitude, wonderment, my own boundaries, and even my fears, of which I wasn't even aware of. I want you all to join me on this final stage, where all emotions and feelings and memories came back. No worries, you can stay in your seat and I'll do the running. Bergen aan Zee, 6 o'clock in the morning. I wake up in a hotel room and start my routine. Breakfast, coffee, toilet, gear check, weather check. 72 kilometers running on the beach with a very strong headwind. It reflects how I feel. I'm empty. I'm tired already. But luckily, throughout the day, I will be joined by other runners. So there I am, on a pitch-black beach, together with my friend Timo. Let's do this. We start running, and I feel great immediately. The darkness, the endless waves, we see a seal, and some great lights in the sky of a lighthouse, a plane in the clouds, and in the distance, a fire-spitting chimney. Within minutes, I run into the runner's high. The last time this happened was in Zeeland, when I had to return back to the place where I became hypothermic in stage 33. Without realizing, I seemed to be afraid to go back. But when I was there, I took a few deep sighs, and it was okay. I felt great, just like here, on the beach, right now. Nowhere that feelings come sooner as on the beach. The feeling of being on top of the world, standing above all elements, and standing above all situations, even if it does not go as planned. What a difference compared to the beginning of this year. Always in doubt whether I could do something or not, and honestly panic if something did not go as I wanted to, even freak out. I learned to deal with it. Of course, I ran weekly stages of 50 kilometers. I even ran a stage of 101 kilometers. Every week, again and again, those long trips to the borders and back. Minor and big setbacks of my body, my mind, or something simple as a delayed train, peanuts. I went out of my comfort zone so many times, I learned to deal with it. Castricum, daylight, Bas joins us. We ran together on the German border in Limburg, and we had a lot of fun, and we talked a lot. But not today. I'm tired. Bas is the only one talking. And after a while, also Bas becomes quiet. Silence. But it's okay. It's comfortable silence. The first time I experienced comfortable silence was in the north of Groningen. With a group of friends and strangers, we were running on an endless dike. We were running and talking for hours, and then after a while became silent. And at that moment, not during the talking, but at that moment, there was a very special bond between us. Comfortable silence. It's the same silence I learned to appreciate more and more when I was running alone on the border. No longer afraid of silence in my head. No longer afraid of unpleasant thoughts. Just like now, here on the beach with Bas. I'm far out of my comfort zone right now, and almost my entire body is screaming me to stop. But I kept running. My mind wants to keep running. so the rest will follow. Zandvoort. More and more people are joining me, and in front of me, I see friends running, and I see memories. Memories of specific stages, and of the fun we had, the beer we drank, and the borders we met. I see Eric, and I think back of the midnight stage we did in Enschede. Dark, foggy, like here. And actually, I must say, it was the night before Halloween, I was a bit scared. Not only because of the barking dogs in the distance, and not only because of the strange noises in the bushes, but also because of the friends of Eric would hunt us as border guards, just like in the old days, because we were running through a smuggling area. They did not succeed. They did not find us. So the next morning I had to smile when I read the Dutch newspaper. A big headline, a quote of a politician: "We must start guarding our borders again." I will hold my thoughts on this matter, but I must say, if it does happen, I recommend not to hire Eric's friends for this task. Noordwijk. Thomas is with us now. The day wouldn't have been complete without him. With him, I ran a lot of kilometers on the Belgian border. There, and in the far east of our country, I experienced that in some places time stood still, and it reminded me of my own hometown. I grew up in a quiet area, all relaxed in a comfort zone. Nice, yes, and narrow-minded. Everything that's different is weird. Everything that's new is scary. The fear of the unknown. It sounds innocent, but is it? If I came running into villages like that, people would look at me as if I were weird. What would happen if it's not just one runner that comes into your village, but let's say 500 refugees? What would happen if it's not something very simple you're scared of, but something terrible as a disease or an unexpected death? If you always stay in your comfort zone, things will hit you very hard when you're thrown out unwillingly. Noordwijkerhout. I am so tired. I want to stop. Do I have to puke? My body is way out of the physical comfort zone right now. But it's okay. Run, AJ, run. Here comes the night. In the distance, some shadows of the clouds in the sky. I've got to get home to my wife, to my child. In the distance, the Scheveningen Pier. Finally, almost home. I start to cry. I don't care anymore that people see me crying. It happened a lot last year. I became emotionally incontinent. Tears from happiness, tears from a runner's high, tears from joy, from thankfulness, and now tears from pain, from the wind and from relief. Almost home. There's nothing anymore I can think of except finishing. Okay, and the Finnish beer, and the bitter balls, and going home. But first I need to finish. Everything becomes vague. I have no longer tears from the wind because two friends in front of me form a running windscreen. Almost home. Another 45 meters. And then there's a fire and a true finish line. I see my boys, my wife, hugs and kisses from friends and family, beer, home. Scheveningen was home, but it wasn't the finish. There is no finish line in life. You have to keep exploring your boundaries. I experienced that just 3 months ago, September 11th this year. All my life and running resolutions had become weak. I did not search for boundaries anymore. And then I read a tweet about September 11, 15 years ago, the attacks on New York City. And the tweet said, what did we actually learn in those 15 years? Unthinking, I put on my running shoes. I didn't run for long, for months. But without thinking and in high speed, I ran 30 kilometers to and over the real border. And at that border, you see in a few seconds, at that border, everything came back. What did you actually learn? Damn you, AJ. At that specific border, I decided to keep looking for boundaries. At that specific border, I found back the joy in running. At that specific border, I decided to quit my job. I want to focus on marketing and sports again. Move people in all ways. Get your ass off that couch. Get out of that comfort zone. Only if you dare to look for your own fears, your own doubts, or your own pain, you might beat them. Only if you come closer to your own boundaries, you are really free. Thank you.
Come back, look back, look this straight ahead.